The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Hangin' with the Talkin' Cowboys Break.
Now that's a mouthful.
Streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Good morning, everyone. It's Wednesday, January 19th. Thank you for joining us. We got a Frankenstein podcast for you today. I'm David Hellman. I was doing the math on this before we did the show. 10 years of NFL playing experience. I'm here with Isaiah Stanback and Danny McCray. Okay. That sounds about right. And then Mick.
Do we have to go there?
45 combined years of Cowboys coverage on the other side of the table. What's up, y'all?
What's up, man?
How's it going?
Dave? And then we have Dave.
Hey. I threw my 10 years.
You did,
there.
absolutely.
Are you higher up than that?
No, you got it.
I was thinking so. Okay,
that's good. That's enough.
Let's not talk about
don't go
this
back anymore.
Yeah. We don't need to talk about the 80s. All right, so I had a couple things I wanted to get into today, which it's ironic because we found out this morning Mike McCarthy is going to do his kind of wrap-up press conference, which if there was any doubt about his future here, not saying that there was, but if there was any, that probably puts it to rest that he is addressing the media. But I think it's funny. So we obviously haven't had a chance to react to that, right? But I'm curious. We've had 72 hours to digest. Is there anything from Sunday's loss that is on your mind more or that has changed now that you've had some time to digest it? Maybe the emotions of the matter are gone. Anything that you're feeling differently about on Wednesday than you were on Monday?
Not for me. I think I feel the same way. I've been feeling the same way all season long. I think they have to figure out a way to address the issue with this team, really within this organization. It's not just this team. What's been going on? What can they put your finger on that's been a roadblock for this team having success in the playoffs? And, I'm not sure what that is. And I know Jerry's beyond frustrated in terms of trying to figure out what it is because as his job, and everybody's always calling for Jerry. Jerry needs to step aside. His job is to put together the best coaching staff and the best roster he possibly can. And I think he did that this year. And to still come up short, I can only imagine the level of frustration that he has. And, but this team, to be fair, this team did show a lot of signs that really kind of accumulated and really led up to what showed up this past Sunday in terms of their inability to be consistent offensively, in terms of their inability to stop the run, in terms of their inability to be, to obviously get the ball in their playmakers' hands. All these things really started showing up, and it's unfortunate that was on display, and obviously in a playoff game that they needed to win to accelerate their way towards obviously their ultimate trophy, which is the Lombardi. But something has to change, and we talked about yesterday on Talking Cowboys in terms of how I just didn't hear a lot of the conversation was never revolving around what was going to happen down the road. Like this is supposed to happen in a regular season. We're supposed to beat up on these guys. Our future and what really matters is the playoffs. Now, you didn't hear a lot of that kind of rhetoric during this year, but you heard a lot of praise in terms of all the success that happened during the regular season. And I'm always one of those individuals that's always looking, hey, what's going to happen down the road? Like this stuff that really doesn't matter. This has to happen in order for you to take care of business down the road. But like that's what really matters. Regular season 12-5. Mick was here when I was my rookie year. I won't say a freshman year. In 2007, we went 13-3. We had 13 Pro Bowlers, but it doesn't matter. We lost after we had our bye week.
And I sort of, and I know they've had past failures in the playoffs. I equate this one to the 2007 one because 2007, that was a really, really good team. And they had a couple things happen going into that first playoff game against the Giants. One of those was they didn't have enough receivers in that game. Terrell Owens got hurt, remember? He shouldn't have played. He had a high ankle sprain, and he was a shadow of himself. So that made Patrick Creighton the lead receiver. Patrick Creighton was a nice receiver, probably a nice second, third receiver, but not the lead guy. And then after that, I can't even remember. Was it
crickets?
Was it Sam Hurd?
Yep, Sam Hurd, Miles.
And it was like, and then the Cowboys adopted, and whoever's idea was this, is we're going to win this game by running the football. And the Giants were like, Yeah, go ahead. Because Marion Barber's not running into the end zone. He doesn't have the speed to do that, right? So they just played back and said, okay, run all you want, but you're not running into the end zone.
Yeah.
And he had 100 yards at halftime in that game, rushing. And they got beat because the Giants said, as long as you're not throwing the ball in the end zone, Tony Romo, we'll deal with this. And they did.
Do you feel like the 49ers took that same approach? Because that's the vibe that I got as we watched the film, as we watched the game. They were playing soft defense. The defense was soft. Tissue paper, Charmin, whatever the sponsor is, okay? They were soft. Cover 3, 8 yards off. Cover 4, 12 yards off. And Kellen Moore just didn't want to take the easy ones. Kellen Moore, Dak Prescott, however you want to go at it, right? It was not a point to just say, take what's given to you. Everything was still forced down the field, and obviously that wasn't successful.
Well, I thought the Giants' philosophy in that game in 2007 was, we're not going to let Tony Romo beat us.
Yep.
So somehow, some way, we're going to put pressure on him, and we'll deal with whatever else you throw. But from not just the game, just that was a shocking loss because that was a really good team. And I thought this team was good. But to be honest, my philosophy in playoffs, and you guys can speak to it, is you can mask your warts during the regular season, but when it gets to the playoffs, the warts get exposed.
Which go ahead. Yeah. I want to talk more about Kellen Moore, but we got more show to fill, so we'll do that in a minute. But go ahead.
That's where I was going to hit on. I mean, it goes.
We'll do it now then.
So when you watch the game, like you said, San Francisco is playing soft. They're not the first team who's done that to us, right? You know why they do that to you? Because they don't believe you're going to run the ball, right? They don't believe you're going to run it, so they're saying, look, they're not going to run it. So all we have to do is get in our best pass defense and figure out and see if they can figure out how to beat it. And I think what happens is gets in Kellen's head of like, okay, I have to figure out how to beat this pass defense by passing and drawing up something that's creative enough for us to get some yards in the pass when the easy solution is there. I'm going to keep pointing to the drive that we moved down the field with 6 runs and score a touchdown. You would then believe, all right, we found something. But that's not the first time that's happened this season where somebody said, hey, look, I think we've found out that if we run the ball, we look like a more balanced offense. And then we get into the next game and we go totally away from that. Wart, I think that is the biggest wart. Not being able to see what a weakness is in the game, finding out how to adjust to that and help your players out by saying, look, if running is working, we should just lean on that. I would have rather us ran the ball 30 times, 35 times, and lost the game that way than losing to how we lost it on Sunday.
Maybe not, but that kind of sounds like a contradiction, though. And Isaiah, you're not the only person I've heard say that. If Troy Aikman talked on the ticket this morning about how the Niners were just playing 8 yards off all day, and like the 6 to 10 yard completions for CeeDee Lamb should have been there. So. Is that a contradiction? Like, should they have tried to pound the rock a little bit more, or were they just ignoring easy plays in the passing game?
Both options were available to you. And when you go back, I want everybody to go back and watch it. There are literal 6-man and 7-man boxes. A lot of times 6-man boxes.
They rush 4 all day.
All day long. When you have a 6-man box, run the ball. Or when you're coming out and you're going 3-by-1 sets, if you go back, I want everybody to go back and look at Dalton Schultz a lot of times on the inside, or even Cedric Wilson sometimes, and CeeDee Lamb. Those guys they were what we call uncovered, right? Linebackers sitting inside. The only person, they didn't come out in no nickel personnel or dime. It was literally just their base for defense, and that linebacker was sitting inside a lot of times. That third inside receiver, right, a lot of times to the right, was uncovered. There was a lot of opportunities to just simply receive the snap and toss him the ball at the line of scrimmage, right? Receiver doesn't have to go downfield. He just turns, takes it, runs up the field 5 yards. There's a guy by the name of Tyreek Hill who happens to do that a lot, right? A lot of times catches a lot of balls at the line of scrimmage and turns into a yak yardage. Dallas, I'm just going to say Dallas. I don't want to point out Kellen Moore or Dak, has been unwilling all year to take those easy plays. I don't think that there's a game where we've had the inability to run the ball, to your point. I don't think there's a game where I don't think there's a game where you say, like, you just can't run. No, I think you abandon the run.
You know, I agree with that to a point.
Okay.
But what these defenses did to this team when they had good enough defenses is basically said, you're going to have to nibble and run underneath to beat us, and we're going to bet that you're going to run out of downs before we run out of yards because you can't execute consistently enough to march 80 yards in 15 plays. Because you're going to have a holding penalty or you're going to have a false start and you're going to get behind the chains and we'll take our chances with you nibbling, but we're not going to let you throw the ball over the top. And when they ran, they can't run. Look at the numbers. They ran 21 times for 77 yards and one run was 17 yards. So you ran 20 times for 60 yards. Mm-hmm. They've got to work on the offensive line.
Yeah,
and I understand the philosophy of play calling, but if your offensive line is getting beat the way that offensive line got beat in that game, you're going to struggle offensively.
Well, go to the previous game. If you continue to put Dalton Schultz on the Chandler Jones, if that is your running scheme,
no, exactly.
Then of course you're not going to be able to run the ball. But
is that not strength on strength?
I do believe that if you find as creative as you are in the pass game, if you find out a way to be that creative in the run game, what does Leal do best? Pull, all right? We have a guy who, when you see him pulling around, he's always making huge plays. Yeah. Why don't we continue to put him in the best position, what he does best when running the ball, right? Instead of the runs that we see where Dalton Schultz is on Chandler Jones and he can wreck the entire play just based off his inability to block that guy, which we all knew he wasn't going to be able to block him.
Yeah.
So then you say, oh, man, the run game doesn't work. Nah, no. The run game works, but you got to put guys in positions to be successful.
Correct. And I agree with both of you guys on some of those points. However, I think defense, instead of I know you said that you think defenses are coming to the game saying, hey, at some point in time you're going to mess up or you don't have the creativity to get your guys the ball. I think that defenses are playing on Kellen Moore's unwillingness to be patient. That's what I think defenses are playing against. I think that he's very creative when he wants to be. I think he was in his bag the whole first half of the season, and then Santa didn't have a backup. Okay, and so I think that he's very creative, but I think he lacks the patience to work down the field on a long drive, and I think that goes back to his foundation. Now, I've said this before on the Talking Cowboys. He came from where?
Boise State.
They don't run the ball. They don't dink and dunk. They throw the rock. That's what they do. And when that's your mold, that's when you might come out and say, hey, guess what? I'm going to come out and everybody says I don't run the ball. I'm going to run the ball. But then what happens when things get tough? What are you going to go back to? I'm going to go back to what's my comfort zone, right?
You think like kind of like an exercise routine. Like it's easy to do it for a few weeks, but and it's easy to fall out because I'm looking at the numbers right now. Their rushing attack was devastating through the first 6 weeks of the season. I mean,
what did we do? First, we didn't run it against Tampa, and we literally didn't try.
But then, and it worked though. Like the quick screens,
we lost.
Okay, but they moved the ball. I mean, they have 400 yards of offense.
But they were winning till the 124 was left in the game.
I mean, at the end of the day, we lost the game. We always said no more victories.
You're not going to get me to criticize 450 yards of offense.
The game plan
against
that you
Tampa.
So would you agree to this then? If you want to help your defense, find a way to hold on to the ball a little longer.
No, yeah, absolutely. But and we don't have to get into a fight about week one.
No, I got you.
But they used passes that doubled as runs in that game. I mean, they were throwing screens, they were giving the ball to Tony Pollard on jet action.
That's what makes Kansas City so dangerous. Kansas City doesn't have to beat you up by just running their head into a wall every single day. They're going to get it into Hartman's hands. They're going to get it into Tyreek Hill's hands. They're going to get it into Perryman. They're going to get it into all their guys' hands.
They're going to get it into their hands.
Absolutely, right? But I'm saying, but that's why it always, and that's why I'm trying not to point out just Kellen Moore, but it really goes back to him because the one game that our highest paid guy on offense, aside from Dak Prescott, complained. What happened?
They got him the ball.
They got him the doggone ball. Why? Because he was intentional.
Yeah.
You're talking about the early part of the season. The run game was what? Intentional, right? Having those short passes and those screens were what? Intentional. But when things got a little bit difficult, what did you revert back to? I'm going back to my comfort zone. I want to throw the ball.
So you, and I get it, you don't want to single anybody out, but do you think that it's more a byproduct of play calling than the offensive line changed a lot over the course of the year? Zeke Elliott tore his PCL. You think it's more about play calling than about player execution?
With the amount of personnel that this roster had, The amount of talent this roster had, I think that the coaching could have outperformed the play. I truly believe that. Now, I'm not saying that you just line up in the backfield and Connor Williams or Connor Montgomery's going to come down here and block on Aaron Donald or anybody else. I'm not asking for that. What I am asking for is what you're talking about. Get these guys out on the edge. What do they do well? Connor Williams does a good job of getting on the edge. Lyle Collins does a good job of getting on the edge. Get them out there. Throw a screenplay to Coop and have those guys both go out there and take out doggone cornerback and a linebacker. Put these guys on edge. Leave defenses. How do you stop really good defensive lines? You have screenplays. You get the ball at the line of scrimmage.
Draws.
You have it to the point where these linemen are no longer coming forward. They're now raising up and looking, trying to see what's going on. That's how you stop dominant front sevens. Dallas has all the personnel to do that. There's name one receiver that we play that can't get the ball to the line of scrimmage and turn it into something major.
They all did it at times this season.
Freaking Malik Turner was doing it.
Yeah.
He's our number 6 receiver.
So basically what you're saying is the Cowboys shouldn't be worried that Kellen Moore is going to get hired as a head coach.
No, heck no, he ain't going nowhere.
All right, that's a perfect.
Where you at, Beamer? I need the Mario Brothers right there.
Perfect segue, because that's what I want to talk about next. I mean, Dan Quinn and there we go.
There it is.
See, I set you up.
Dan Quinn and Kellen Moore are busy this week, and I want to talk about that and what might be next. Let's take a quick break, and we'll do that right after this.
There's nothing as unique as our eyes, which is why Essilor pioneers ways to make lenses as unique as you. Verilux for super sharp vision, Essential Blue for protection, and Crizal for freedom from glare. 3 cutting-edge solutions in a single unique lens. So whatever your needs, insist on Essilor. Visit your local Essilor experts and find the perfect lens for you. See more, do more, Essilor.
New Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. You deserve it.
I do deserve that.
You deserve decadent flavor without sugar, and a day at the beach without sand getting everywhere, and a relaxing bath that your children don't interrupt.
I deserve all that?
It's really just a visual metaphor for Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. Everything you want, nothing you don't.
A visual metaphor on the radio. I do deserve that.
Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. The zero you deserve is finally here.
At AT&T, everyone, new and existing customers, get our best deals on every smartphone. Why? Because you deserve it. For turning your living room into your office and your gym. For teaching Grandma how to video call and teaching her again.
It's the button on your left, Nana. Okay, your other left.
It's not complicated. Everyone deserves something new. So AT&T is giving everyone, new and existing customers, our best deals with every unlimited plan on every smartphone, even the latest ones.
AT&T may temporarily slow data speeds if the network is busy. Restrictions and exceptions may apply.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with...
And I'm Jay Novacek, and we're both with...
United Ag and Turf, the official tractor provider of the Dallas Cowboys.
So, if you need a tractor to bale some hay, a mower to cut some grass, or a gator to get some chores done...
Get a John Deere at United Ag and Turf.
And then, let's get to work.
Hey, Jay, that's my line.
Well, not today.
Get to work with a John Deere tractor package that's just right for you and your budget. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com.
This is Hangin' with the Talkin' Cowboys break.
Now that's a mouthful. Streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Welcome back to the show. The title's way too long and confusing for me to bother with, but I'm here with Mickey Spagnola, Isaiah Stanback, and Danny McCray. All right, we were talking about this in the first segment. First of all, Mickey, you've seen basically everything when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys. Have you ever, or can you ever remember a year where both of the coordinators might be out the door after a successful season? I mean, I know it's normal for one or the other, but I can't remember a year where it was both.
It came close in the 90s, okay? Not both at the same time, but first, Dave Wannstedt, the defensive coordinator, got hired by the Bears after the 92 Super Bowl season. And then the next year, after 93, Norv Turner got hired by Washington. So it wasn't in the same season, but it happened in 2 consecutive years. Yeah, they lost both guys at the same time. And then after that, when they were successful, Ernie Zampese became the offensive coordinator when Norv left, and Ernie didn't want to be a head coach and he was really good, but he just didn't want to be a head coach. He was great being the offensive coordinator. So then they lost Butch Davis as the defensive coordinator 2 years later.
You think there's any chance that Dan Quinn just wants to be a DC too? You know, maybe he's just taking 5 interviews in a week for the fun of it.
I think he is looking for exactly what he's looking for, and I think he's going to be choosy. Like, okay, I'm not just going to be the head coach. It's got to be the right organization, the right owner, the right general manager, and, oh, by the way, I better have a quarterback. I'm not going to put myself into my second head coaching job and having to raise some team without a quarterback. And why are these coaches not there anymore? They probably didn't have a quarterback, right? Jacksonville probably got the best opportunity for a good quarterback. Right?
I got my eye on Chicago. I'm a big fan of Fields.
You like Fields?
You're bringing in a new GM too, whereas Jacksonville you got to deal with the pre-existing GM. They got talent on defense. I mean, I think Khalil Mack maybe is on the downturn, but still a good player. They got Eddie Jackson. They got Roquan Smith. That's where I would want to be.
He fits the personality of the city.
Yeah.
People in Chicago will love him.
That is the only, knowing Dan Quinn and having been under his umbrella back in Seattle, I feel as if Chicago's the only organization that has the history, that has the support from the organization, and like I said, the character that fits Dan Quinn. I feel like if he were to leave, I don't think he wants to leave, but to your point, Mick, if the situation is right, they'll make a deal that it's hard to turn down, but I think it has to have that entire, like I said, the history that comes along with it in terms of the defense with the Chicago Bears, 85 Bears, all that kind of stuff. I think that, along with some of his personnel, along with, to your point, what is the game plan going forward? And make sure I need to know a sense of security that this is going to be handled. If this is handled and you give me these coaches that I want, then I'll walk into the situation.
Unless he has this tug to go back home, right? No, he grew up on the other side of the Hudson River. And, does he want to go back to the Giants?
Oh, that's got to be the least appealing job out of all the ones that are open
but I'm
right
just
now.
saying the appeal would be to go back home.
First question I'm asking, if I'm Dan Quinn walking into a meeting, right, and I want to go into the right, I guess, opportunity.
Yeah.
Hey, man, y'all have any idea what Aaron Rodgers is going to do? Like that automatically makes your organization the right fit. Like, hey, well, so do you have any inside info? Like, are y'all friends? Do you know a guy who said, like, I want to know what the possibility of, like you said, because without a quarterback, you putting yourself in a tough position. And then if people are talking about quarterbacks in the draft, you like, I'm not even sure if there's one in there that you can say that is going to be able to carry our organization from year one. Right, so hey man, dude, is it any?
Because I think if you're a young coach and you get the opportunity, you go, okay, I got to jump. Right? Who knows? This may never come again. But when you've got skins on the wall like he does, you know what? If he does a good job again next year, there's going to be 5 more jobs open.
I don't see why he won't do a great job for us next year. Dan Quinn, you would do great.
I mean, to take 5 interviews. I think it's up to 5 at this point. It seems unlikely, but he knows he's got talent here. He knows they'll have some money to spend a little bit at least to try to keep the guys that are on the team right now. And yeah, the opportunity will be there. I am curious. Okay, that's all well and good. We talked about it in the first segment. The more complicated one is Kellen.
Yeah.
I mean, which I agree with you. Like, if that is your final impression, it's not a good one. But he's got 4 interviews lined up. Like, how do you think that looks? And again, Kellen Moore, as a young coach, is probably going to be more eager to take an opportunity if he gets it. Don't you think?
Yeah, he should.
Well,
he should take it. No, but both ways.
Is that like a selfish, like, please go type
absolutely.
of thing?
Listen, because no secret, I would like to see Mike McCarthy be the play caller. Like, he came in saying he went in the lab, he took that year off, studied as much as he could, and came out with some solutions on how to move the ball against these defenses. We haven't seen him be able to do that because it's Kellen Moore calling the play. So I want to see that happen because at the end of the season, I don't want to say, hey, man, what's up with Mike McCarthy?
So you giving Kellen Moore a care package.
Well, hopefully it's a head coaching job. Like, I don't want him to be jobless.
I mean, he got options.
But you know what? If I'm the head coach and I got a problem with what's going on, he's not an independent contractor. I'm in his ear, right? He's a young guy. He may need some guidance, and I think he gets it during the week. I don't think he's there all by himself without McCarthy having some input. Now, calling plays, it's a different story, right? Because I think he is calling the plays, and he doesn't get in the way. But if I was the head coach and that was my expertise during the week, I'd have a lot to say about the game plan and how we're preparing.
I'm on the mic. That's why that is what I pitched when I came out. Now, of course, Jerry and Steven love Kellen Moore, so they were going to give him that opportunity. But even after last year, I was like, hey, man, Mike, you taking a lot of heat, all right? So put it on your own back. So at the end of the season, you can say, listen, it was me and my stuff didn't work. Because at this point, you just like you still wondering what Mike McCarthy's out there doing. Like you said, he might be out there helping Kellen during the week, but when you watching the game, it's more of like manager. And I want to see Mike McCarthy call the plays because he's been the one studying.
It's kind of like what Parcells did, right? He had an offensive coordinator. It was a title, right? Yeah. He was doing it, right? And then when he kind of handed off a little bit the play calling, he was on the mic. He was in the what the hell are you doing? And
because you can say Mike McCarthy come out and say, yeah, I think we need to run the ball, and then you go into the game and you see something totally different. Like it's just not adding up.
Do you guys feel that Kellen Moore has the personality required to be a head coach in the NFL? Be honest.
Not really.
Nope.
Yeah, he's
soft-spoken.
And
name the last head coach that was soft-spoken that was successful.
I'm trying. I mean,
they tried with Chan Gailey.
I'm just trying to think around the NFL. So well. It's so funny though,
especially
because
here.
Like San Francisco's OC is a guy by the name of Mike McDaniel. Have you ever gotten a look at him? He looks less like a coach than Kellen Moore. Like he looks like
your chemistry professor.
I mean, seriously, he looks like he drinks Mountain Dew and plays Fortnite all day.
This is the difference between us and other teams. See, when we play, what they say, Shanahan offense, and now you're talking about the offensive coordinator.
Shanahan calls their plays. He coordinates their run game.
Right.
The point that I was going to make is I think he's got an interview with the Dolphins, but I would be excited to hire him just because San Francisco kicked their ass the other day. Yeah. And that's not the right way to look at it, but if the Cowboys had scored 35 and won that game, I'd be like, hell yeah, Kellen Moore deserves a head coaching job. But my confidence is really shaken by that.
Not me. Even you take the last game out of it, I'm still – excuse me. You don't understand. Head coach in this league is responsible for coaching who?
Everyone.
Yeah, but who first? What's his first objective?
Quarterback?
No, coaches.
No, coaches, yeah.
Absolutely. He has to coach the coaches. That's number one. That's your number one responsibility. Your coordinator's job is to make sure that your players are in position. You're really in oversight at that point. Now, if you choose to call plays, as I'm sure you've seen plenty of guys do, that's perfectly. That's just your choice. But your number one job is to coach the coaches and make sure that everything is structurally sound, and that make sure that your mission, make sure that everything that you want to be handed down is handed down. Right? Your ideologies, all that stuff. After that, now if you choose to call plays, you can call plays. And then it get a little bit more. You can hop over on the offensive side of the ball, hop on the defensive side of the ball. But you can't just be an offensive guy. You have to have the respect of every doggone player on that team and every coach on that team. So to ask Kellen Moore to step into a position and be a Sean McVay.
But I will say this though, Sean McVay, he's a really good coach, and I don't think it's a coincidence that he's part of the Gruden tree in the sense that he's a self promoter. Did you see him the other day?
He's hype.
He ran down to the end zone to celebrate with his team. But okay,
they feed off that though. They feed off that.
He's also a young guy too.
That's why I brought his name up because of the age.
But doesn't it seem like Kellen is well liked by the guys here at least?
Amari Cooper probably got something to say about that.
Liked and respected are two different things. I don't know either.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying liked and respected are two different things, and I don't get the sense. And I'm not in the locker room. You guys are in there a lot more than me.
Unfortunately, not.
Yeah, I know, right?
For 2 years.
Got my damn hands tied behind my back.
But you can be a lot more opinionated than I can on this. I don't feel as if he walks in a room and everybody goes,
Yeah, but I think he does it maybe a little bit differently.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. He's not a yeller and a screamer. And I think, from what the guys said last year, they kind of respected it, and in the year before that. So there's different ways to do it. But here's what the perception is, and I think when you're talking to the public, that's where your perception is perceived, right? And, in his press conferences, he's understated. He kind of uses a lot of cliches, if you think about it. And so that's what the perception gets to be, not what happens in the room.
Absolutely.
Because the same thing happened to Jason Garrett, right?
And I was about to bring him up.
His public persona was, nice guy, doesn't say anything, and behind the scenes he will MF you more than anybody else I think I've met.
How many people have said over the years, like, did you? I know you saw it, Jason well enough anyway. But like the All or Nothing that series they did about the Cowboys, the behind the scenes series,
they were surprised.
So many people
were shocked,
and they were like, if that guy was the one talking, and that if that was the guy we saw, we would like him a hell of a lot more. And I like Jason Garrett, never understood that for some reason. I think showing your personality can be such an advantage.
See, and I was shocked because that wasn't a Jason Garrett that I had here.
Really?
Was not.
What was your experience?
He was. Now, I wouldn't say he was soft spoken, but he didn't get on guys like that. Only time I ever seen him really stand up and exude that type of personality was when he was beefing with Wade. And Wade Phillips would say, "Wrap it up," and he would say, "Nah, not yet." And we were like,
Nice.
That was after that pay raise,
Yeah, mine was different. I mean, I can remember us restarting periods over again, like we were in college sometimes. We had the Garrett vision where, if you messed up in the game, you were getting put up there. When I first got there, I think if you were overweight or had any of those type of fines, that stuff was put up on the big screen at the beginning of the meeting. It's like, hey, you back up here again. Like these are the guys who are up here, and this is what we need them to do in order for us to be great, because the little stuff can seep in and create problems within the game. So I had a different, like he was a cool dude. He was half of that Jason Garrett that you may see sometimes during the press, where if it's that type of moment, he's that guy. But then if it's a moment to where somebody needs to get got, then
I mean,
he had it in him.
I've seen a lot of times where that red hair ended up in his face. The face got red. He gets so mad and chew guys out. And I've seen it. So
interesting. I'm so glad I don't have a job where my weight is broadcast to people on a weekly basis.
Nate Newton wouldn't have done well with Jason Garrett as the head coach. Is what you're
this is
saying.
The thing, though. Like if you're overweight one time, you're not going to be on the board. If this becomes a consistent issue, because you have a lot of time to get your weight under control.
I struggled to get my weight down when I first got drafted. I got drafted at 230. They said, we need you to report at 207. I said, I'm 4% body fat. How? Mickey?
God bless you.
You guys sound like my doctor, right? When I go in, you're overweight.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, thanks.
All right.
You know what? If you got to go to break.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, my impression after the game was, I don't think, if this was the final exam for both coordinators to get a head coaching job, I don't know that either one passed.
Really?
No?
Not even Dan?
Now I got to hear this one.
They ran 63 plays, I think it was. 15 plays totaled 240 yards in that game.
Jeez.
240 in 15 plays. All of them were double-digit gains, right? Mm-hmm. And then the other 48 plays, they gained 100 yards. So to me, the downfall of that defense when they weren't getting multiple takeaways in a game was they gave up big plays. 76 for the season, right?
Oh, yeah.
Nearly
they gave up a lot of explosives.
40% of the yardage they gave up came on 7% of the plays. I figured out. And so I understand that, the defense was good. And as long as they were getting takeaways. And I said before the game, my gut feeling, they will get multiple takeaways, and that'll compensate for giving up big plays. And they had a chance for another two, right?
I would say the difference is, between my opinion, between Kellen Moore and Dan Quinn. Kellen Moore is still unproven.
Right.
Yeah.
Dan Quinn is proven, and most of these organizations that are asking for a head coach to come in are looking for what type of change? A culture change. Dan Quinn came in.
I get you.
Yeah, he came in here and completely changed the culture of the Dallas Cowboys in one season. Completely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Talk about it.
They were going to ask him to do the same thing if he goes
might have
somewhere
been
else.
able to change the culture of that defense.
I'll say this, just because I've been standing on the table for Dan Quinn before we even hired him.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, the culture changed, right? Especially from what we saw last year. Then I got to go into, we gave up a lot of big plays. When it came to the defense making stops when they needed to or not giving up touchdowns, I think we were very, very good at that. Throughout most of the year, on third down, we were at the top of the league in our third down defense. Now, I also have to go, just like I do with the offensive, like when you play the Washington football team and you score 50, when you play Philly and you score 50, and then you're the number one offense, and if you look at it in context, it's a little different. Same thing with our defense. Sometimes I'm watching the end of the game and I want us to be top 10. I would come to Dave every morning. I'd be like,
freaking Monday.
Like, yeah,
every
Trayvon
Monday.
Diggs all of a sudden on the sideline with a tight back because we're up by 30, and then all of a sudden they scored 14 points, and you start seeing runs going up the middle, the dudes getting beat over the top because the game's over. So I think that plays into it as well. But Dan Quinn, to me, definitely his resume and for what he did this year.
I'm just saying the last game.
Oh yeah,
the last.
They gave up 23 though, Nick.
I know.
They played well enough to win the ball.
They got a turnover. Listen, one of the touchdowns they give up is a change of possession, which we know is always tough. Debo Samuel, after Dak gives it up in our own territory, breaks it out for
26-yard touchdown.
A 26-yard run on change of possession. It happens in the league often. They always say that change of possession is that time when the defense is rushing out there. You're not really get on the field, and all of a sudden something can go wrong. So 17.
Yeah,
I'm just, and
23 points, holding a playoff team to 23 points is enough.
That game as you're bending and giving up field goals.
Yeah, it was a carbon copy of the Cardinals game.
Yes,
like not their best effort, but more than good enough to win.
And they say, offense, help us.
Yes,
like help
somebody
us. Put a drive together.
It's like that meme of the hand sticking out of the water, like drowning, and they just high five it instead of helping them out.
You think about how much help the offense got for us to put up 17 points. Okay, fake punt.
I don't even want to talk about that.
And an interception. Right, and we still end up with 17, and I'm sitting here saying if our defense holds it, and Newey's not here, but if our defense holds them to 23 points, I can guarantee you we'll win this game, or we should.
They should have. They didn't.
Well, there was one drive at the end that they didn't do what they needed to do.
Yeah,
the defense, right? They let them have the ball for 6 minutes.
Yeah, no, they ran some time off the clock.
Right?
Yeah, they ran some time off the clock.
And then the offense didn't do what they should have done when they got the ball with 2 minutes
whole game.
to go.
Twice.
Right?
The whole game.
I'm getting wistful all over again just thinking about this. All right. We have to take it at second break, and then I want to get into one more thing, particularly from a player perspective, when we get back.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
At AT&T, everyone, new and existing customers, get our best deals on every smartphone. Why? Because you deserve it. For turning your living room into your office and your gym. For teaching Grandma how to video call and teaching her again.
It's the button on your left, Nana. Okay, your other left.
It's not complicated. Everyone deserves something new. So AT&T is giving everyone, new and existing customers, our best deals with every unlimited plan on every smartphone, even the latest ones.
AT&T may temporarily slow data speeds if the network is busy. Restrictions and exceptions may apply.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way.
Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Before there was a draft, you could size up a cowboy by 3 simple factors: the crease in his hat, the bend of his brim, and his unbending attitude. A man's Stetson didn't just protect him from what life threw at him, it projected a rugged, unstoppable spirit. Stetson hats are still American-made with pride right here in Texas. they're still the unofficial crown of all self-respecting Cowboys. And Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find a retailer nearest you at stetson.com/Cowboys.
This is Hangin' with the Talkin' Cowboys break.
Now that's a mouthful. Streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app.
I gotta be honest, I shouldn't say this, but like the conversations we have during the breaks are better than what we're doing on the air. I mean, we're sitting here going at each other's throats about the Chiefs' offensive line. Isaiah's like, yeah, they're in the Super Bowl, Mickey. They're in the Super Bowl. That's where we're. Would you take a devastating Super Bowl loss just to have gotten that monkey off this team's back?
Yes.
How about a devastating NFC title game loss?
Yep.
You know all the.
It's easy to say that right now, but I don't know, man.
Well,
if they ever get over that hump and then don't finish the deal, I might not ever recover.
Well, if you're asking about a fan standpoint,
yeah,
Danny White got this team to 3 consecutive NFC title games, and they lost. And no one thinks of him as being a really, really, really good quarterback,
It's
right?
true.
Because he didn't win the big one. Don Meredith went through the same thing, right? The guy's name's up in the Ring of Honor, but he couldn't win the big one. And he finally said, you know what? I'm out of here. I'm tired of that. And the same thing, Tony Romo was good, right? But didn't win a big one. And so it destroys what you think of the guy.
That's not where I was planning on going, but it's something worth mentioning is like, or you tell me how you feel. Dak Prescott inching into that category of when you gonna win a big one, or am I wrong?
You are correct. You are correct.
Isaiah's like hiding over there. Isaiah doesn't want to say anything about it.
He's a bad word around here. Like you say anything bad around Dak, you get freaking spears thrown at you.
God damn, I'm okay.
I've been getting them thrown at me for the last 2 years, so I'm perfectly fine with it.
I'm okay to put the expectation on him of, hey man, you got paid, and where you started at, right? When you first came in, and then what you were able to accomplish from your first year, and then you just assume that it's going to continue to go up, right? And I think that's part of the expectation for the Cowboys. And then he gets paid. And now the expectation is really there, right? For, yes, you have to be able to make your offense score more than 17 points when it's crunch time. You have to be able to win those games that are against the good teams that people may not expect you to be able to win. And if you don't, then, yeah, you're inching toward those same guys of like, hey, man, when it comes down to it, are you really good enough to win those type of games?
I am a driver of the Dak train.
You are.
Absolutely.
You have the license and everything.
I am licensed. Like what's the Allison transmission that like the big rigs have? I speak it.
Okay.
I've been in favor of paying Dak since at least 2018. Okay. I'm glad they got the deal done. Yep. I still think that he is capable of doing that. But much like Kellen Moore, I don't think you have a choice but to just not admit that you're wrong, but it's just kind of like you gotta hold the L for the time being, right? Like I'm not gonna sit here if you don't believe in Dak. I would say it probably means that you haven't believed in Dak. Like I don't know that Dak lost people over that game. I think the people that already didn't like him, it just confirmed their priors. But then the people like me, I'm just like, yeah, what am I supposed to say? I mean, he's on a $40 million salary. You should be able to lift your team.
How much do y'all pay John Kitna to come back in here and be the quarterback coach?
John Kitna is amazing at coaching.
How much would you pay this dude to just leave right now, Brothers in High School, come on back here, be the quarterback coach? Because the year that Dak had, and his ability to read and make the right throws.
John Kitna holds people accountable.
So talking about
spicy.
Yeah,
that's a spicy comment.
Talking about Dak, he put up 30 points against Green Bay as a rookie in the playoffs, and it wasn't good enough. Mm-hmm. Why?
Defense,
right? Okay.
Falling into a 21-3 hole doesn't help, but yeah.
Right. What happened against the Rams?
They just got pounded into the turf by C.J. frickin' Anderson.
Yeah, that was
273 yards rushing.
Yeah.
That's not on the quarterback, right? No. Okay. And in this game, was it his fault he got sacked 5 times and hit 14 times trying to throw the ball?
Partially.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think he's
partially.
I see where you're going with this, Mickey.
Partially.
I see where you're going with this.
So
No.
You guys are ignoring the biggest factor in that game, that offensive line was horrible.
Mickey,
not ignoring
hold
it.
on, time out.
So,
Let me run it back.
so you watched the film and you
I did.
and
I went back and watched
it. And you seen him make mistakes and bad reads. The read on the interception to Cedric Wilson was a bad read, and not because his offensive line was bad.
It was. But quarterbacks do get intercepted.
No, I'm saying, but this is what we're saying.
Now we're getting spicy.
When you're making 40, we're saying the expectation
don't
for
make
you,
a bad read.
No, in cover 4 when the safety's coming to the yes, absolutely, that is an easy read. They're in cover 4. You're running the tight end through. The safety has to come take that guy. Yes, that is to me that is a $40 million guy. He should be able to make that read in cover 4.
Listen,
the wide receiver let that DB cross his face.
So you guys so talking about y'all might be talking about one play. And I'm not talking about
I got another one.
Yes, I'm a former.
Well, I got another one too.
And I got about 15 of them.
He shouldn't have thrown the ball into the sun, right?
Absolutely.
I need to hear the former quarterback talk for a sec.
I don't know what the hierarchy or how things are being facilitated on that side of the building in terms of once a play call comes in. I would imagine that he has full reign to change things, right, and make alterations, change. I would imagine that he has that power. Being that that's the expectation, with the defense that he was being presented, he didn't change the plays at the line of scrimmage the way in which I saw that he should have. If you have a 14-yard route, when these guys are playing 8 yards off, the hell with that. First and second down, I'm throwing a 5-yard hitch. Easy. Throwing a 6-yard under. Easy. Sometimes your offensive lineman, you have 5 offensive linemen and a running back in the backfield, you can only block 6. You see they're bringing 7. Their man right there in the slot is uncovered. Throw him a hot route. Tell him don't come off the ball. Tell him turn and look. If that man comes hot, look at me. There's things of that nature that I see during Dak's game. How about just a screenplay to CeeDee Lamb? It turned out to be a first down. Ball location was trash. Ball location took CeeDee Lamb 2-3 yards behind the line of scrimmage when he should have caught it at the line of scrimmage and been able to jet that thing up and give him ability to get more yak yardage, because by throwing the ball way back here on his back shoulder, that doggone linebacker named Warner, he happened to have another 5 yards that he can close the gap. Things like that are so precise. I feel like Dak can help this team and this organization be more successful. I don't know the precedent or the focus that's being applied to that, because we didn't see any drastic improvement in that regard. People are going to say, oh, the calf injury. I hear you. He didn't want to cross the line of scrimmage. Dak doesn't want to cross the line of scrimmage to run. He just doesn't want to do it.
He ran for a touchdown.
I hear you. That's because it was
you had to.
He had to, Mick. It was booty butt naked open. But Mick, but run it back though. How many other opportunities did he have to move the chains?
And what's the downside on that, by the way?
There's no downside when you can slide.
Well, he slid on the last play, and the guy jumped on top.
I hear you.
What happened?
I think your cough button's on, Mick.
Got you. Yeah, I hear you, but I'm saying there are plenty of opportunities that he can move these chains, and I don't know. Again, I'm not sure what's being taught, so I can't speak to that. But I do know that there are plenty of opportunities with quarterbacks that I've played with. Right? Opportunities that I've had. I've sat in the meeting room with Tom Brady. I've been on the field with Tom Brady, Wes Welker, Randy Moss. I know what the expectation was. I know how many adjustments were made on the field. There were plenty of times we were on the field, Wes Welker would change our release. Randy Moss would tell me to do something different. Right? TB12 would look at me and tell me, hey, boom, I forget what we're doing. That head nod right now, you know what that means. That means I'm getting you the ball right now. There are a lot of adjustments that happen on the field that the quarterback is in control of. The ball location, TB12 throws a bad ball. Oh, I'm sorry, I put that on your back shoulder. I should have put it on your front shoulder. He knows that makes the difference in making a play versus not making a play. I don't think that emphasis is being applied, and I'm not sure that internally, and this is just me speaking, I don't know. Internally, I'm not sure if he's being held to that level of accountability. When you bring up John Kitna holds people to that level of accountability. He don't give a doggone what you're making.
I got one thing. All right. Let's not disregard, because I know just because one person said it, it's not just that one guy. Mm-mm. It's something that has been seen. Mm-hmm. Buda Baker walks off the field and says, this is what we knew about Dak and this offense. That hurt. If we showed them one thing, we knew that we can get them to check into something that was favorable to us. What
he did it the whole game.
You think Buda is the only person who knew that?
So why didn't the other team stop the Cowboys from being the top scoring team in the league?
Well, You talking about Philly? That was missing 16 people?
No.
Or are you talking about
Philly.
the Washington football team?
No, I'm not. I'm talking about scoring 30 points, 29 points against Tampa Bay.
That helped
going on the road and winning an overtime game at New England.
That helped them be the number one offense. Those 50-point games, that helped them be the number one offense.
No, I understand that. I understand the point thing, but they were scoring points in other games,
Mickey,
right?
I'm not saying that.
So you're basing everything on this one game.
No, Denver. That's the Arizona game, Mickey.
Denver game.
That's the But first we were talking about San Francisco. Now I went back to the Arizona game and told you that a guy who studied film said we knew how to get this guy to run certain plays.
So how come those other teams didn't?
So everybody don't have Buda Baker. Everybody don't have it. Everybody don't have a Denver defense.
That's what my point is.
What's the point?
So when they came up against good defenses, they struggled.
Yes.
And it's all the quarterback.
No, I'm not saying it's all the quarterback. He said we don't know if it's an emphasis on what checks are being made. Like what is available to Dak when he walks up to the line of scrimmage once he sees a certain look. Those can be mistakes that are made on the offensive coordinator. Those also could be Dak checking into the wrong stuff because he believes that the defense is running something that they're not running. Like
I look at something like a Buffalo. The Buffalo game, they freaking torched. Josh Allen had over 300-something yards, 5 touchdowns. But what did he do that was everybody's going to talk about his touchdowns that he threw. Everybody's going to talk about how many yards he threw for. But what did he do really well? He took what was given to him.
Yeah.
And when you take what's given to you, you alter what that defense now can do to you.
I don't know. I saw him throwing the ball down the field.
Who? Josh?
Yes.
Yeah, they're going to do that. Right? But you know why? You know why? Because when he forces their hand, when they're playing a certain coverage, and now if you say, if you want to play that coverage, fine, I'll take these 5-6 yards on the ground. Okay. Now guess what? Now you have to change your approach.
Okay, so tell me this. Are you suggesting to me that the Cowboys don't have to do anything going forward with that offensive line?
No. Heck no.
Absolutely.
No.
We talked about
the whole left side. The whole left side from the center and left guard position has to be addressed. That's a glaring hole.
And the tackles?
The tackles are playing. They're playing well.
Lyle Collins?
They're playing well. They're not playing all pro Lyle Collins well.
The tackles are probably disappointing relative to their salaries, but like you're not going out there like we can't win with these guys.
What defensive end caused you issues versus those two?
Off the top of my head, I mean,
I'm saying they're playing well. Your problems came from where?
They're lucky.
Interior defensive alignment.
They're lucky. Bosa got hurt.
They played okay, and then they also both missed extended time throughout the season.
Absolutely. Now that's something that you have to address. But I'm talking about that's not a glaring hole. The glaring hole is inside your interior. When you think about the teams that we played against and where the pressure came from, where did it come from, Mick?
Yeah,
inside.
Yeah.
You got your two youngest guys in the middle of the offense.
Do you think we should have been able to win that game, even though we had that offensive line that we had out there on
yes.
Sunday? That's what I'm saying. I don't believe that the offensive line is the reason why we're sitting here on Wednesday saying that we don't have a game next week.
If you want to keep running the offense the way in which you're running it, yes, they will be.
Do you think? Which I want to.
Because now you're asking these guys to sit back and protect for 3 or 4 seconds
when you know they can't do it.
That is a separate issue. Which again, it's so frustrating that we just don't know what's going to happen. I mean, Kellen Moore,
he ain't going nowhere.
I think you're probably right, but we still don't know that. I want to ask you because you touched on this with the Josh Allen thing. Do you think Dak has a patience problem? Because he's talked about it a few times over the course of the second half of the season when they were just on this up and down ride. He talked about being greedy, trying to force chunk plays that maybe weren't there instead of just taking what was in front of him. And I want, like we talked about it with Kellen Moore. Maybe it's the quarterback.
I have to go to who's his teacher?
Kellen Moore.
That's who spends the time with him. That's his mentor at this point. Now, even though he was underneath him down the depth chart, now he's his doggone coach. And whatever the coach is teaching you, that's what's going to show up on the field. If the coach is saying, hey, drive the ball down here, we have opportunity for plays down here versus this coverage, we want you to go down here 14, 16, 18 yards down the field. No, take that one. Take that one. That's the reason why New England was so good for so doggone long. Wes Welker, Amendola, those guys will pick you apart. How do you defend 5 yards off the line of scrimmage? It's hard because now if you do that, now guess what? Going over the top of your head. But as long as you don't do that, what are they going to do, Mick? I'm playing 12, 14 yards off because I know you don't have the patience to work the way. I know you don't want to throw to that guy. You'll throw it to Schultz every so often, but I know you don't want to give it to him.
I do. I just wonder if there's like because Dak, he's so competitive, you can tell. Mm-hmm. And I just wonder if there's an element of like, you don't think I'm worth the contract? You don't think I'll ever walk again after breaking my ankle? Watch this.
You have to have that as a competitor.
Sure, but
That's the chip.
You also have, of course, and I mean, Tom Brady is notorious for being like competitive to a psychopath degree, but you gotta check it in the name of like doing what the defense is giving you.
Because Tom Brady will also nickel and dime you to sleep.
Absolutely, he will.
Like, that's why the teams that he plays that he obviously commands are so hard to beat. They lose freaking Leonard Fournette when they bring in who? Giovanni Bernard. Hey, come from the house, man. What you doing over there? You playing Madden? Cool. Come over here and help us out. I'm gonna throw you a couple swing routes. I'm gonna throw you a couple drops.
But you think about Leonard Fournette. Even Leonard Fournette. What was Leonard Fournette coming out of college?
Just a bulldozer.
They were not talking about Leonard Fournette being a third down back.
He did not catch the
ball.
ball.
Who was playoff Lenny?
He caught the ball a lot. I think he's like third on the Bucs in receptions this year, behind Godwin and Evans. Wild.
Yeah. So to address it, I think everything keeps coming back to Kellen Moore for me, because I think he's in charge. Even though Nussmeier and all that stuff is a quarterback coach, I think he is a huge. Obviously, being an offensive coordinator, he has a huge impact and impression on Dak. And if he makes it a point to work on his aspect of the game that he needs to improve, I think we will see that translate into Dak and ultimately see that translate into this offense's development.
I'm with you because even to Mickey's point, I'm like, if you go into the game knowing that your offensive line is at a disadvantage, then you have to find a way to do things that doesn't put them in those situations on a consistent basis.
Right.
And so like we used to say I guess it was what was the game when Tyron Smith is out? We play in Atlanta.
Falcons,
Adrian Claiborne's
7 sacks.
Absolutely, right? And we come back and we sit in here on Monday and like, man, why didn't he give me any help? Right? You as an offensive coordinator have to know, hey, man, we need to put a tight end over there.
That wasn't Kellen.
Well, no, I'm saying.
I'm just making sure. I'm just making sure.
No. I'm not saying it's Kellen, but we got on JG for that.
Yeah,
we were like, man,
he deserved it.
And I know, right? But as an offensive coordinator, you say, listen, why isn't, like, if you know you're going into the game with this guy, right, and you know what he can and can't do, or after the first quarter you realize he's getting beat like a drum, call some plays. You have to call some plays in there where hey man, we got a tight end that's gonna come over. We're gonna max protect. We're gonna do X, Y, Z.
Actually,
instead, we gave him 5 sacks.
That was on the offensive line coach. He insisted that this will work out. And they finally got to the second half and said, screw your advice.
The lie detector test determined that was a lie.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
He lost his job over
it. As he should have.
Right.
As he should have.
Adrian Claiborne, earlier this year, I think he's with the Browns now. Yeah. One of the games Tyron missed, it got announced that he was out, and Adrian Claiborne, I think it was the Falcons game this year, he quote tweeted on Twitter and was like, "Get after it, my guys!" That made my career basically.
No, it made all the money he needed to make because he was a free agent the next year, and he got paid.
He got paid,
and then you never heard from him again.
I think all of this can be right. I mean, the offensive line got embarrassed on Sunday, but for where he is in his career, what we've seen that he's capable of, Dak has played some amazing football for this team.
Oh, not taking anything away from
Dak. No. But the offensive line was a problem, and it needs to be addressed. But I agree with y'all. The plays were there to be made. You needed 24 points. You didn't. He didn't get into this shootout where you needed 38 points to win. He needed one more touchdown.
And your question was, is he inching toward that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. Well, I mean, if you have to look at the route that we've taken. Yes, getting there, but not getting over the hump. Is who they are.
Y'all know. You all know how this goes because of who they are. If you don't love the Cowboys, you hate them. All my friends went to LSU. They were burying me in memes about Joe Burrow's got as many playoff wins as Dak Prescott, and I was like, I can't. I got nothing. I can't say anything to you.
There's just no excuse.
And their offensive line.
Their offensive line sucks.
Their offensive line.
That's
a show right there. That's a show. They went out there and they beat Kansas City with that offensive line, and they won the playoff game with that offensive line. But at the same time, that same team has 2 1,000-yard receivers and a 1,000-yard rusher who they lean on all 3 of those, and they make sure and the tight end is good.
They make sure you get the ball?
They get them all the ball.
They make sure you get the ball?
All of them. T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, I always mess it. Is it Uzma?
I forgot. Is our
CJ Uzoma, yeah.
Is our second highest paid offensive player the highest receiving receiver on this team?
No.
Nope. Nope.
No. Do you know?
Nope.
You got to be able to get these guys the ball.
Did he even flirt with 100 catches on the year?
No, but
didn't come close.
But 1.1 a game, right?
Something like that.
So
20 on the year.
So you say you should be able to get that?
No, 3 million a year.
17 games, right? He's like 1.2, somewhere around there. It's over $1 million a game.
It's a lot.
But you're not insuring. You gave him that because of his ability to do what?
Catch the ball.
Catch the ball and make plays.
And the quiet guy is telling you. He give it to me.
Hey, kudos to Amari Cooper. I was here with T.O., obviously. T.O. caught a lot of backlash for how he expressed his frustrations. He went about it a certain way. Everybody has their ways of going about it. T.O. does it one way. Antonio Brown does it another way. Odell Beckham does it one way, right? Everybody has their ways. Amari Cooper was sitting here screaming. That was his version of screaming. Get me the doggone ball. I'm frustrated. There is no excuse for it. I can only do what I can do. I can't throw it and catch it. You hear all these little things that he said? He is irate right now that he didn't have an opportunity to help his team win. And that this coordinator didn't find more creative ways to get him the ball. Because when you think about the number one receiver for any other high-caliber offense in this league, do they have a problem getting the ball, regardless of the defense?
Not at all.
Just keep throwing at him, right?
Freaking it. Cooper Kupp. Right?
160.
I mean, go down the doggone. Go every team.
190.
Kansas City. Who you think about when you think about Kansas City?
Kelsey and Hill.
Go, keep going.
I mean, Minnesota got two of them. They're going to make sure.
Go to doggone Raiders. Go to the Raiders. Renfro?
Devontae Adams is the only guy in Green Bay's offense that scares anybody, and he still caught 123 passes this year. You know that teams were going into games.
This is a problem
for him.
This is a problem.
So you're suggesting not cutting Cooper?
You better not cut Coop.
Oh, I will have a fit.
I mean,
If the problem
You're
isn't
not
Coop.
listening to talk radio.
No, I don't listen to that. The problem is not Coop. The problem is the guy that's trying to get the ball to Coop.
If you are going to pay these dudes, if you're going to pay a guy $100 million, a running back $90 million, your offensive coordinator better be prepared to get them dudes the bread. But if they're not, then why are they here?
If Cooper was in Kansas City, what would he be doing?
But that's what I'm saying, though.
Catching
so which one are you going to do, though?
So last year they got him the ball.
Yeah, I think he had 90
and the year
something
before
catches.
he got the ball. So what happened this year?
We talked about this on the break the other day. I think, and I get it.
And it was the same quarterback, by the way.
Yep. No, I'm not talking about the QB. I'm talking about the guy.
I'm talking about
that was almost the same offensive coordinator.
The idea of like, we have so many weapons, we're going to throw it where the defense isn't, in theory, it's a good idea, right? In theory. But it can't be, and for that matter, you can't just target Amari 20 times every game either. But there's got to be some give and take here. Like, there's got to be a determined effort to be like, and in this case,
playmaker.
I mean, Amari for one, but CD too. It's like we didn't target CD until the third quarter. Like, that should just never happen. That it just can't. That can't happen.
You can target Amari Cooper on almost every third down. Every third down, when you force the defense to get it man-to-man, you have an opportunity to target Amari Cooper or CeeDee Lamb.
You should be able to delegate what the defense is running.
Absolutely. But Buddha Bacon said we're checking into stuff that isn't right. They tricked us into checking into something that just didn't make any sense.
Hoodwinked.
And you almost got a pick six on us.
Led astray.
Maybe they overthought it then.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know, man.
I really appreciate the way we were all we were down here when the show started, and we just ramped it all the way up.
Hey, Mickey will get you right.
I'm here for it.
Mickey will get you right, man. But no, that was good.
I just saw the crawler there, but they had the interview for the Dolphins, and then they had Kellen Moore and Dan Quinn on.
He would not go down to that crap show.
Games.
So tell me this. If you were a head coach and you were looking for a team, which quarterback or which team has a quarterback that you would trust to go to?
Jacksonville has the best quarterback.
I'm making a beeline for Chicago because I think Jacksonville is just a dysfunctional
I
mess.
feel too. But I'm talking about as far as quarterbacks, Jacksonville.
Trevor's
in terms
great.
of organizations, I would have to say Chicago.
What's happening with Deshaun Watson?
I don't even want to touch that. I don't know.
Well, it sounds like he's out.
Well, if he's out, then I guess.
I think if they get beat Flo, I think he stays.
Yeah, it depends on what do you have there at that point. Because that's probably your best option is having.
I think if he
having a quarterback.
If B Flo goes to Houston, which I think will happen, I think he stays.
Yeah,
they find a way.
If he's there, that's probably, and he's able to play, then that's probably your best bet for having a guy.
Although you got to deal with the GM down there.
Yeah,
that's his guy. I was there with Nick Casario. Nick Casario was my receivers coach when I went to New England.
I mean, Houston at this point,
and the GM.
Houston at this point is basically Foxborough South.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And Brian Flores is a New England guy.
So if he gets his guy, he won't be calling down in the middle of the game and telling him, okay, here's what we need to do here, right?
It's to Danny's point. I mean, Denver's got the best roster of any team with an opening, but unless you can promise me Aaron Rodgers is signing there in May, I don't want any part of it.
I think Denver's about to have. I think the Manning family's about to take over the Denver.
Yeah, no, I think you're probably right.
Well, it's getting sold.
Yeah, I think the Manning family's about to buy it.
Lots of questions.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, them and John
I
Elway.
like that.
Desperately trying to end the show, and y'all are just like, no, we're going to keep going.
And then they'll raise their nephew who's getting ready to go to college, right? And
Artie's a beast, too.
Right? He's good.
Arch is going to LSU. Don't even worry about it.
I heard yesterday it was either Georgia or Texas.
The second coming of Joe Burrow, baby.
That's right.
Oh gosh.
Look, all right, the news cycle is going to flip.
Do we get to do this again?
I don't. There's going to be another split show tomorrow. I don't think we're going to be on it. I know I'm not. I'm taking the day off.
I think Barry's on there.
You guys have the day off tomorrow.
We got the day off.
Come on.
But Mike McCarthy's going to talk at 2 p.m. Central on today, Wednesday.
What's the first question?
My God, I don't know.
David?
There's a lot to get to.
David,
it'll be David Moore asking it, that's for sure. So stay tuned for that. This was a lot of fun. Let's
I
do
enjoyed
this.
it.
Let's
This
do
was
this more
great.
often.
It was good.
For Danny, Isaiah, Mickey, I'm Dave. Thanks for listening. We'll catch y'all later.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?